Yeah,
And so the entire...
Where do they get the legality of mail fraud, seeing as you put a postage stamp and we're sending it from a foreign nation, us, to some other part of the United States? How does is there some way that mail fraud, that seems to be they have the Postmaster General has quite a bit of power these days.
The Postmaster General controls the United States.
So that's really
He is responsible for the policing of all forms of government.
I did not know that.
Well, the Post Office controls the Treasury. The Treasury prints the money. The money is used for commerce. All 50 states of the United States are independent territories. The only thing that ties the 50 states of the United States together is commerce. In other words, money.
I understand that. Yeah, I got
Through
it.
the United States Treasury, because all the conditions of states are actually vessels in dry dock controlled by the Post Office through commerce.
Right.
Same thing is true when you walk into a courtroom. You're entering a foreign jurisdiction. Now, if you look up the rules and regulations, you will see that the judge, under Title 28, Section 2072, has the broad-based discretion to make determinations.
Correct.
Okay, DE means no, and TER is terra, no earth, contracts. Determination, that's what it means. TION means contract.
All right.
So you have no earth contract. Well, what happens in court? Everything is written in adverb verb. You're under a foreign flag. You've left America. You might as well be on Jupiter or the moon. And the arguments that are told in court are all based on issues of commerce. Who's going to make the most amount of money in the argument on the table? It's very rare that you actually see a condition of fairness take place. Just like 95% of all men in America only get to see their children every other weekend that are divorced.
Yeah,
and that's 70% of the population.
Have the minority in the say of what the court has to discreet against. Yeah, that's very true.
And they say equality, and yet we have nothing but there is no equality. Men and women don't have equality. The different races don't have equality. You have the freedom of choice. Freedom is a pronoun. Of is an adverb, modifies the pronoun in front of it, and the choice verb. Choice is a condition of state, not a fiction.
Yeah.
So you have a no condition of an illusion. That's what freedom of choice means.
Right. Well,
Now, there's a certain group of people listening tonight. The rules and regulations that I'm going to be talking in generalities here, and you can fill in the blanks.
Okay.
The rules and regulations that have been handed to you to govern the way you do business are written in adverb verb. I have the power and the knowledge to go ahead and identify the fictitious conveyance of language in violation of Title 18, 1001, and 1002 to certify that because money is being used, you are now a victim of mail fraud, which is Title 18, Section 1341, which is a 30-year prison sentence and a $1 million fine for each action. Now, if there is a condition placed upon you by a foreign court identifying you to be a foreign entity because you've left America and you've gone into this foreign vessel in dry dock, and they made a determination against you, your question is, where is your venue written with the correct sentence structure? Where is your oath written with the correct sentence structure? Where are the rules, regulations, codes, contracts written with the correct sentence structure? Please show me the correct sentence structure or vacate your position. Well,
powerful words.
When I first made this public in 1988, so we're going on our 19th year now since I broke the math interface on languages.
Yeah.
The government came to me and says, do you realize what you've done? You've vacated every treaty, trust, and contract for 8,500 years and 5,000 languages on planet Earth. Are you responsible to fix it? And I says, yes. Well, I've been at this now 27 years.
Right.
I started in 1980. Now, I have a website. It's gwmlc.com. Now, the reason I put that website out there with about 100 pages of information is so that people could get a foundation of communication skills, a foundation of how many different types of lies have been told to them to date. And if you read that and you study it, and your curiosity is spiked a little bit more than the average person, I also have a 20-hour tape series, which goes into a classroom setting where I teach the procedures of language and articulate the deductive reasoning of how this all came about. We also have a 105-page workbook, and which articulates the use of this type of language in its correct format so that you can see it does have an application. Now, individuals continually come back to me and say, well, how the courts will not file in the truth paperwork. They will only file fiction paperwork. Well, if you file a fiction document, you've already lost because your document says nothing. So it's a mute argument to go into a fiction court and file fiction paperwork. Now, everyone believes that the venue of that building, that courthouse, is the court. That's not a true statement. It's a true statement if you walk in, one, without paperwork, two, your paperwork says nothing, three, your paperwork is filled out improperly and you don't have your authorizations to even be in the courtroom. So therefore, what are you? You're a foreign person trespassing on a foreign vessel. Well, that's really complicated now. It's like an illegal alien coming here from a foreign government into America and not having a passport or not having papers to be here. So what do? We arrest them, we send them back. Well, the same thing is true when you go to court. Your documents aren't in order, you wind up getting arrested, and they put you in jail. They keep you on the vessel because they're not going to return you to where you came from. They're going to make a slave out of you. And what has conquering armies been doing to people when they conquer them? They make slaves out of them. Look at the history of mankind going all the way back to recorded wars. How one army conquered another army. You can keep what you can hold, and you enslave what you hold.
Well, I remember you told me that we were talking the other day on the private conversation. You were telling me that people in prison actually signed a contract and put themselves there, which is really interesting, that comment you made.
Yes. 95% of all people in courts, in prison, have contracted themselves into the prisons. I was driving through Nebraska once, and the warden of the prison was on the radio being interviewed, and he claims to have the most corporate employees under contract and runs his prison with the highest efficiency with his corporate employees. 2,800 of them.
Private corporation, and that's amazing.
Right, and all jails are controlled by private corporations today, or prisons, I should say.
Yeah, I'm finding that out. You know, just like that one I was telling you about that Alex Jones found up there in Austin, Texas. The Homeland Security is driving in and out, but it's a private corporation. They told his camera crew, "Get off our ground. This is a private corporation. You're trespassing." The minute you identify the word corporation, you are now back into the condition of court, a closed area under contract. Okay, yeah.
See, now they've advertised the use of words, but people don't think outside the box. People don't break down the deductive reasoning as to what is actually happening. They presume, assume, and opinionate the condition of their location.
You know,
but if they stop to think outside the box, they're going to find out that they are in a serious situation of lack of knowledge. And every time you have a lack of knowledge, you wind up a ward of the state.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true. And
with 30 million Americans, that's 10% of our population under arrest.
Yeah.
That's atrocious.
Yeah, and we got 612 prisons that aren't even filled up yet. New ones, brand new ones. They just build them, or they've taken old army buildings and converted them. And that's become available, and the staff becomes educated. You know, you got to have teachers if you want to have students, right? Yeah.
If we have a teacher shortage, well, then they crowd the students in. If we have a surplus of teachers, well, then they spread the students out, and they have it thinner.
Yeah.
Same thing is true with prisons. If we have overcrowding, they build new prisons, and they divide them up.